Welcome back, guys, to another video from the World Chess Championship series. I would have liked for this to be a Wednesday, but I had some more urgent stuff to do, so it's a Thursday. Not so far away. It's not like I skipped a week or anything. Hopefully you can forgive me. I kind of forgive me, but okay. We have a really interesting match now. Botvinnik achieved, well, the highest ever possible rank. That's the world champion. And during that time there was not like a really established elo system, and it's not like they had exact metrics of how good everybody is. It was more like, hey, you win these tournaments, you're good, and you're world champion, you're the best, which that was the case, and it kind of still is today. And after you achieve something like that, well, you cannot really go further, right? You cannot be the best and then the best of the best. Well, you can be, but you understand what I'm trying to say. So now comes the hard part for Botvinnik. He's got to defend his title, and he already did one successfully, but he almost choked it. Almost, but he successfully won the 23rd game, and now he has a match against Smyslov, who won the 1953 candidates match. And without further ado, let's see the match. And it all begins with the game number 1, and I'm going to show you this. I'm going to walk you through this quite fast. Now Smyslov has the white pieces, Botvinnik has the black pieces, and they're going to play an opening that they're going to play a couple of times. Actually, was really popular, I guess. They're going to play the French defense with now variation, retreat variation, and it's basically a variation where black gets his bishop here, and then white argues that he's better, and in fact he is better, but you gotta be careful because it's not like black plays this and he's stupid. He has this quite annoying move here. If you take then bishop b5 check and you lose the queen, that's a really well-known trap. Bishop d7, so you stop bishop b5 check, and now c3 you defend the knight. And okay, now a couple moves later, thing is about this game that is really interesting is not necessarily the middle game, but the end game. Queen goes back, knight comes forward, and after a couple of moves, the players kind of find their right setups. Knight comes in, you trade like this, you take a pawn, you lose the pawn back, and now you have the following position. And the thing is, well, you would say, okay, bishop is better than knight, but Botvinnik is gonna ask, well, is it actually true? Because the knight comes in, now you attack this pawn, g3, the knight comes in, you attack the bishop, you play this really nice move here. Now, the bishop is not attacking this pawn, you freed up your rook, so rook a3 now attacking the knight, you attack the rook, and now you come back here, and you finally, that's how strong the knight is. You don't trade like this. This would probably be a lot more drawable, but you play knight c5, and now you play this really nice move, g5, and after h takes, f takes, you take this pawn here, and after bishop comes back, now you play check, and finally a5. So now this is not a target anymore, and this is forever cemented here, well, in case you don't win this pawn. And now all black really has to do is come in and win this pawn here and just keep everything together. So rook b3 is going to be played first. Also, you can come like here or here. It's really relevant. So rook f4 is trapped, now rook d5. You don't want a rook trade just yet. And of course, you don't have a single problem. Like if you want to force a trade, okay, come at me, right? Force a trade. Even if you take like this. And now, I don't know, you play a check or something. The thing is, black is up a pawn and you gotta defend against this, and it's pretty annoying. So rook e4 is tried, and now king g7, bishop h5, trying to put some pressure here on the pawn. Maybe you go rook f2, maybe you try to find something, but no problem, knight g6. And now you're not even scared of this trade. You're just gonna go king g6, and after rook f2, right, looking for this, just rook f5. Rook takes, e takes, rook is forced to move, and now a really instructive move. Basically the only winning move here for black, that's rook e4. Because now after rook c7 you can take this pawn. If you just simply took this pawn right here, then rook c5 and you would lose this pawn, and then it would be really hard to win that endgame. But with rook e4, now you win this pawn, and now it's actually in fact quite easy. Here also there was an only move played after rook f6, king h3, rook f3, rook a6, and now rook f5. Or actually, there was no other moment. I thought for a second that there was another moment where black could have had a chance here. The thing is, after you take here, you would lose this pawn, and it would be just rook c5, rook b5 anywhere, and or rook e5 even if you don't want to get checked. And then you just push these pawns together, and black just has too much. And now the second game, the colors are reversed, and Botvinnik gets the white pieces, and he's gonna play a Nimzo Indian. Well, actually, Smyslov is gonna choose to play the Nimzo Indian, and now they play quite the wild variation: king on f1, g4, g5, and here usually people right now play knight b4, and that's the trendy line, because if h4 just defending this pawn normally, then you can take this knight and now argue that, well, white doesn't actually have anything. And we have seen this type of positions a couple of times, even at the top grandmasters of today. So the usual thing is to take, and now after h4 simply play something like h6 and maybe castles, depending on where you want to take the game. I mean, and black is fine, but usually knight e4 helps a lot with that, because if knight to d7, now you, after h4, bishop d6, now you basically relinquish control of this e4 square, and you're just gonna play e4. D takes, knight takes, you attack the bishop tries to trade itself, but now after castles, I mean, you see, white's king is in the center, but at the same time, look at white's pieces. They're just ready to just jump in and attack at any moment. So just h5. Now are you gonna stop my attack? Just knight d6. Okay, now just d5. Okay, you're gonna give me the exchange, and now take this pawn. Now you see, these top grandmasters, they know when to switch gears. They go, okay, the attack is over. I'm just gonna consolidate, and now I'm just gonna stop your knight from getting active here, right? No knight c5, no knight c7, and just win your pawn here in a second, kick out your knight, win your pawn in a second, and now just completely solid, and black resigns, because, right, you don't need to checkmate your opponent, and black is just dead here. If you try to, I fought you, now I just rook c5, right? And if you try to play takes, even takes, and that's it, knight d6, you're gonna come in and defend, you're just gonna push, we're gonna take your pawn, and that's it. So really nice game played by Botvinnik, and now that brings us to the fourth game, also a really nice game. So Botvinnik, again with the white pieces, the electing defense of the queen's gambit. Now queen goes here, you attack the b3 pawn, the bishop gives itself for the knight, right? We have a knight trade, we have a bishop for the knight trade, and now a4. Now b4, not b takes a4, not opening things up, and just b4, and now c5. And the whole thing about this variation is that, well, can black be solid enough so that white's long-term weaknesses, are gonna come to light? So we have a trade, and now this d5 move, really key move, because the thing is, if you were to trade, then okay, rook to d8, and you kind of have a clarified position, maybe f4, and then black is actually doing okay here. Maybe you take this, you take this pawn here in the future. Not right now, obviously the queen defends it, but that's the long-term plan for white. Maybe you take this pawn in the future, maybe you give a check, maybe you come here, maybe you put pressure, maybe you get rook g1, and so on. And black just, again, has to be solid, but the way that Smyslov did it, he played e5, but now this allows a5, and this pawn is now forever stuck here, and these pawns are gonna be a little bit weak here. But okay, black is still not lost by any means, and now just e4, a really nice move by Botvinnik, closing things down, but at the same time seeing that, okay, this bishop, you cannot activate the bishop, and that's the beauty of it. The bishop is simply stuck. After long castles, now it's just bishop e3, and you don't need to activate this bishop here on the king side. It's a lot more useful on the queen side. And now c4. Smyslov really felt the need to break out of this cage, so he played c4. He sacrificed the pawn. This is not the best plan, but he's gonna try. And here king f1. Again, king f1, just like in the second game, f5, but now just rook g1, queen goes here to h5, and now just rook g2. Okay, you're gonna get the knight in, the queen gets pushed back, and now queen comes forward. Okay, just king slides over, f4, no problem, bishop d2. Rook b8, just king h1. And this pawn, right was attacked, and now this is a little bit under pressure. The knight is not in the best spot, and plus you have to worry because this attack is gonna come here, and it doesn't take long. Bishop c4. Now, if you're gonna move the bishop, you might get just checked here, because right, you sacrifice this, you get checked, you push, and then that's almost a queen. Okay, queen g1 first. This bishop is not gonna move here realistically, so you're gonna make it move, right? But now the queen, now the rook attacks the queen. The queen gets pushed back. Now the queen comes forward, and now Botvinnik is gonna look for a triple stack here on the g file. b3, now setting up this really nasty d6, and here you kind of don't want to go bishop d6 because after rook g1, how are you gonna defend yourself? So here Smyslov goes king h8, but okay, rook g1 nonetheless, and now finally rook to d6, stopping the advancement of this pawn. And now, okay, you're not gonna give this up right here. Fine. Bishop to c1. Now looking for a reroute to b2, and this pawn is weak. Oopsie. I skipped around a little bit. I didn't want to do that. Okay. Yeah. Here we were. I'm sorry. The bishop wanted to reroute itself to b2, and now rook to e8, queen to f1. And queen to h5, and finally, after repeating the position, rook to g5, and now queen back to f1. And now you can see black's position: knight and rook stuck defending this pawn. This is also a big target. The rook is stuck here, defending against the push, and the bishop is simply useless. The queen is useless, and it's only a matter of time. Bishop tries to activate itself, but now bishop slides back to c1. And now black is gonna start a counteroffensive, right? You kick back the rook, you go back with the bishop, you're gonna try knight f6. Okay, rook to d7. Okay, this might not be looking like an attacking move, but it kind of is activating this rook, giving up this pawn here, and white just takes it. I mean, you're gonna try to activate, but at the end of the day, right, here comes the counterattack, but the counterattack is not strong enough. Just queen to d3. Now you threaten to push, bishop d6 stops that, queen comes back, and now the queen is just in time. You slide back to d1, you go queen h4, and now you just play bishop e2. And g4 comes, and now you just go bishop e1, and you don't really care about it. h5, and now when the heat starts to rise, you just take, and now you play a really nice move, the only move. Can you spot it, guys? Have 3 seconds to do so. 3, 2, 1. It's just f3. And now after all the complications, rook takes, bishop takes the queen, rook takes, queen is forced to take, and okay, white is down a piece for 3 pawns. Look at this pawn. How are you gonna stop it? If you're gonna try to give a check and say, okay, well, I'm stopping you. Okay, if you move the king, yes, maybe. But if you move the king, it's also irrelevant. But just bishop f2, and now, okay, great, but good luck stopping these pawns, because you cannot. And yeah, well, it's just a matter of time. King takes, and now the Smyslov tries to save the knight, just brings in the bishop, now goes in with the king, and now just king c4, and here Botvinnik just resigns, because the thing is, even if you stop this pawn here, bishop c5 forces a bishop trade, and now you stop this pawn, right? Congratulations. Here comes my h pawn, and you can try a series of checks, but it's useless. So a really nice game, and Botvinnik just dominated the first half, but then Smyslov made a comeback, and he won game after game after game after game, and it all reached its pinnacle in game number 14, where Smyslov played a really beautiful game, just a really beautiful game. And he's gonna play King's Indian, right? At this point, he's basically just he's with the mentality of he has to win, right? He's down games, and he has to win. And it's not a tragic situation that he's in, but he would like to be at least equal. h3, and we have now just a wild variation. Knight a4, queen slides over, you take the knight, and now you take the pawn, you take the knight, you take the pawn here, you kick back the queen, you take the rook, but now knight takes on e5, and if you count the material for a second, it's just a knight and a pawn for the rook. But why did black did this voluntarily? Well, this is gonna be a target, and besides that, f5, f4, h6, you kick the bishop back, and you just smash everything on this side. The bishop is quite strong right here. Also, you have this pawn which you can push to a3, and you have all of these threats. So how do you deal with them as white? Well, you go rook c1, you try to attack the queen, but queen slides just queen slides to b4. a3, now you try to kick away the queen, but the queen takes the pawn. Okay, you take this pawn, but now bishop goes to b7. And that's a really tricky move that Smyslov played. Because if bishop takes, this queen takes, and now you have this long-term problems here on the light squares, and you are forced to stop them with rook to c3. And I suspect that Botvinnik did not really want, because in this position you cannot really take here, because I'm gonna take here, and I suspect that Botvinnik didn't want to go into a pawn down endgame, because that's actually just a pawn down endgame, and he wanted to create some counterplay. So he played rook b1, but this loses. But the reason that it loses is just for this reason it loses, and it's just quite insane. So can you spot again? We have a lot of times here to spot really nice moves. 3 seconds again. 3, 2, 1. Actually, I went 1, 2, 3, but no worries. Knight f3 check, and after king h1, you go bishop takes on a8. You sacrifice the queen. You take the bishop with check, and now you give another check and you take the rook. And if you count the material, it's 3 pieces and a pawn for the queen. But okay, now it's 3 pieces for the queen. So can Smyslov pull this off? Well, the queen needs help. The queen is strong, but if you're gonna face it with 3 pieces and all of them are just gonna come in with threats, then maybe the queen is not gonna be the best piece to defend against everything. Queen e7, now you try to put some pressure, but the pressure is just not enough. The rook sneaks in, and here knight d4 check, bishop to f3, you kick out the rook, and now just knight c6, and white resigns. Botvinnik resigns, because you move the queen, right? You get the queen out of the way, you lose the pawn, and now, well, like here, even if you trade here, it's still just gonna be like a slow death. You don't even have to bring back the knight yet. You can just take the pawn. It's still gonna be a slow death here, and white resigns. So that brings the game level. It's 7-7 now after 14 games. And okay, Botvinnik wins the game, wins another game. Botvinnik wins another game, but then Smyslov comes back. He wins the 20th game, and now here's the 23rd game. Right, but Smyslov is down a game in the match, and he has 2 matches left. So he's gonna play a King's Indian attack, right? That's what you play when you have to win, and you cannot rely on the fact that your opponent is not gonna know the theory, because Botvinnik was one of the most well-prepared world champions in history. And Smyslov actually achieves quite the nice position. f4 now, and he finds a way to just not be worse here. Knight f1, bishop g4, you have a following trade, but now just bishop to d2, and you play this in a really chill way. Actually, you trade, and here what white has obviously is this huge activity on the e file with the target here on the knight, and you have also pressure here, and now if you don't act now, the thing is it's gonna be really hard, and the engine suggests either rook b8 defending against this threat, or just c4, right, trying to destabilize white right now, and he would have achieved. I mean, in this variation, you lose a knight, you cannot take the pawn, and then queen c2, but now the threats are not that big. You actually can play a move, for example, like knight d5, and you're fine. So Botvinnik had to act now, but by going knight f5, okay, he stepped out of danger a little bit, but now just bishop to g2, knight h4, and now just he loses a pawn. He gets the pawn back, but the thing is, knight e4, and how are we gonna stop white's activity? And the knight comes in, the knight just takes a pawn, the knight takes another pawn, and now you just force a rook trade, and Botvinnik resigns. Because if, let's say, queen takes f7, now just this really nice move, rook e8, forcing this trade, so that would be one thing. And if king takes f7, now, I mean, you can just play knight e6 check, for example, king goes, let's say, to g8, and now knight comes to g5, and you know, the thing is, you move the rook, you lose this knight, and you know, we have like the following trade. Here we don't want a queen trade, but okay, let's say I want to force a queen trade, but just king f1, and you don't really have chances realistically, because your king is so weak. And Smyslov wins the 23rd game in a really nice fashion here. And now that brings us to the very last game. Can Smyslov get it done here in the last game? He has the black pieces, so it's gonna be hard, and he's gonna try to play. And Botvinnik, of course, he plays c4. Of course, he goes for the most dry opening that he can possibly can. He just goes for something again symmetrical, and Smyslov has, you know, the King's Indian setup, so he's gonna try. And he's gonna try h3, a5, and he's gonna make it interesting. E takes on d4, knight takes on d4, and now there are a couple of games played here. It's not like this is something new. Knight goes to c5, and you have this whole pressure on the center, but you know, white is fine. White has enough defenses. Rook to d1, knight back to d7, now just knight back to b3. And here Smyslov, in trying to make something happen, he sadly, for him, made a mistake. Here after knight takes c5, you kind of have to play knight takes on c5, but I'm suspecting that this was something quite already explored. And, you know, maybe he did not like the prospect of being forced to trade bishops, like bishop e6, maybe you're forced to trade bishops, and then he maybe didn't think that he could win this position with b4, and now white has an easy way to be better here, not only be drawing. So he takes with the pawn, but now this allows f4, and not only f4, like b3 you defend against this threat, a4, but you don't care about that. Queen slides over to f2, you play e5, Smyslov tries f5, but he's not gonna get anywhere. Just rook to d3, a takes, bishop e6, and after rook f to d1, Smyslov is basically tied down. This is tied down to this, right? And there's obviously this whole pressure right here. The knight, even if it came back like to d7, still would not have had any sort of prospect, like anything. And white only needed to draw, but even if white needed to win, this would have been a really nice position. Now you just come in with the king, and you're not gonna push g4. I don't know why I was always trying to go for some same side attack. You just slowly squeeze black. That's the way that you win this. Like, if black tries something like this, knight a4. That's why the knight is important on b6. But black doesn't have anything here. And actually, in fact, I was right. In this position, you can actually play g4. I was right for once. Knight to d7, for example, and now just queen d2. You're not scared about this. You're just gonna take, for example. It's really bad, and I'm just gonna close this video right here, not going into further explorations of a position that's clearly winning for white. Botvinnik offered the draw, and they agreed to a draw, and he retained the title. Really nice match. Botvinnik actually played really well, but Smyslov also showed up, definitely. And we're gonna see. These guys are gonna have a rematch in the 1957 World Chess Championship. Smyslov is gonna win the candidates again, and I'm gonna see you then. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you all in the next one. Kowalsky out.